That would have been a madness for people to tune in here. Absolutely would have been. Yeah, we're started now, but I'll wait for the first couple of people to join the stream before I bother commentating. I feel like...
That's just lazy.
Well, I mean, otherwise I'm just commentating to you, aren't I?
Yeah, but I'm a viewer of the stream.
Are you? Because it doesn't say there are any viewers at the moment.
Because it takes like 6 years to load up for me.
Yeah, it does, to be fair. Oh, there you go. We got our first comment anyway. I would ask you to do comments, but you're pretty useless at it most of the time. There's Jonathan Cox saying evening. Yeah, evening, Jonathan, evening everyone who's joined us. We haven't got many joining us at the moment, but that's fair enough, because we haven't properly started.
Came straight away for me.
Oh, that's an improvement at least. But yeah, we've got the Singapore Grand Prix, which is race 8 of this 22 race calendar. It's back-to-back street races. Singapore, the Monaco of Asia, the night race. A lot of sexy history here since it came in, I believe it was either 2007 or 2008. I think it was 07. Who can forget Crashgate here, where the Renault teammate Fernando Alonso in Nelson Piquet Jr. was told that the only way to guarantee that he'd have a seat for the next season would be if he deliberately crashed and brought out the safety car. That he did, and he got Alonso the win. But it was, yeah, not exactly the best example, and they did get heavily punished, and rightly so. And obviously, more recently, it was Vettel's last win in Formula One. Was last year at Singapore in a Ferrari 1-2, I think. Yeah, it was a Ferrari 1-2 in the end. How long ago that seems, especially considering how bad Ferrari are this season. We are running up now. I do believe we've got 18 drivers in, but I think we'll have at least 19 for the race. I think the one we're missing possibly is Ono. Yeah, it is Ono. So we'll have 19 for the race, but 18 for quali. It's the usual. We're very consistent with 18 drivers, I feel like. It's never like much more or less. It's always at bang on 18 pretty much for qualifying anyway.
It's a good amount.
Yeah, it is, and it still means, 3 people. Sorry, yeah, 2 or 3 people. No, 3 people get eliminated from Q1. Yeah, it wasn't actually quick because I'd questioned myself several times, so I wouldn't say it was quick at all. But there you are. And Singapore, it actually is sometimes quite likely for it to rain, and obviously you never want it to rain on street circuits, but Singapore especially, because it's not as bad as Monaco in my opinion, and I did like it quite a lot last year, but so far my practice been struggling a bit more this year. But yeah, it's a very unstable track. You sort of need an unstable setup to sort of throw around the car. You've got to be, especially these guys will be in Div 1, the really quick guys, sort of want the most unstable setup possible in terms of just throwing it around those corners, getting as much speed as you can. But of course that adds the risk to it, and you're surrounded by walls pretty much everywhere at this track. So we're going to get up the lap data and track map, and we await the first person to exit the pit lane in Q1 of Singapore.
Just saying, was that young lot's really disconnecting?
It hasn't come up with him disconnecting for me, but
it said he left session, so
maybe it might be. He's been struggling with his internet. Who is first out? It is Energetics is first out, and he's closely followed behind by, I think that's Milan behind him. It is. So these are the two that will be at the moment anyway setting the first times, although they might jostle for a bit of track position. We will see. Also, I just realised I haven't even introduced my co-commentator. It's his second appearance, and we had him on trial for the first race, but now we've got him on a loan for an option to buy. But that's heavily reliant on instalments. We don't want to waste everything on a straight up fee. But yeah, here he is for his second appearance, and it's another. Well, instead of it being a day to night race, it's a full night race. And it is the streets of Singapore. Energetics is going very hard on this outlap. Like, he's going very risky for considering it's not a timed lap. But maybe getting some practice in, because you need to be very risky around here. And yeah, we'll look at that. We've also got ESAT, who I believe is a new well, he's not a new driver in Div 1, but he's a reserve that's racing today, a new reserve, making his first appearance. So you see him behind his McLaren, his fellow McLaren teammate of Dan Murphy. Energetic, yeah, it will be. And also interesting to note, this is the longest race on the F1 calendar in terms of time. It's nearly 2 hours mark, and if you have safety cars, you don't even always get all the laps in. We have got some comments, Cameron. Do you mind checking what they are as we go on board with Energetics for his lap?
Yeah, it's just Joftas and Jonathan Cox saying dry sessions all race apparently.
Okay.
That's good to hear.
Is well, actually, Joftas might be a bit disappointed with that because he's an expert in the rain. But rain or no rain, he has got the most poles so far this season in Div 1. So don't think it particularly matters to him. Oh, big slide! Ooh. Whoa, that was a huge slide. He's lost the rear there. That's going to hurt him. I think his pants will be a lot browner after that. Big slide. Yellow flag in sector 3. That's only cars going slowly. Of course, behind Energetics, we have Milan. But we're going to stick with Energetics for the first lap. In this Marina Bay circuit. And let's see what banker time Energetics can set. Bouncing around these curbs. That looked like a very good line out there. Oh, he's got wing damage. He's got wing damage. And I presume he will abandon the lap. He is going to continue with it, with the damage. But we know it's going to be obviously not his best time, 1:35.4, because of the... Oh, I couldn't go to Milan in time, but he does a 1:35.0. We knew that's not Energetics' best time because he obviously got that wing damage and he had that big slide. Next up the road...
yeah, I would expect him to make up for it, though.
Oh, 100%. Next up the road, I think that's Andreas. It is Andreas coming across the line now. And he does not improve enough. And behind him is the Williams of... It's not Total P's. He was... Oh, someone's just starting their lap, I think. So that was a bit anticlimactic. I do apologise. Energetics going incredibly slowly there. I'm not really sure why. We got Young Lights now coming around to start his first flying lap. Currently Milan the fastest out of the 3 timed laps. Next up is that... No, that is not Jonathan Cox. That was ESAT, who sets the fastest time with a 1:34.7. And coming up now is not Total P's. It's Phil Razor, and that is not a good time at all. Droftas has now gone faster with a 1:34.6. Phil Razor definitely backed off or something there. Total P's coming straight into the pits. He invalidated. Young Lights has done a purple second sector. He's got a bit of traffic in front. Takes a lovely swooping line in the traffic, gets well out of the way. I do believe that's the Renault either ESAT or Jonathan Cox getting well out his way. So the time to beat, ignore that fastest lap in the bottom left-hand corner that says it's Milan with a 1:35.073, because that's incorrect. As you can see on the left-hand side, it is a 1:34.647 to beat by Droftas. And... sorry, that was Purple Sector 1 I was on about for Young Lights. He's now done a Purple Sector 2. So this is looking like a very quick lap at the moment. Just got to be careful there not to get wing damage. We've got another time lap in that. That is One with a 1:36.035. We've also got Alan going third fastest with a 1:35.044. Now here comes Young Lights. Round the final corner, what sort of time will he be posting? It's a 1:34.131. That's 5/10 quicker than anyone else on track. That is an unbelievable time.
That's
and when he does not disconnect, he is very, very quick. Jonathan Cox now starting his lap. And Dan Murphy's invalidated. So we're going to keep on board with Blaze. And yeah, that is some unbelievable pace there from Young Lights. It did look like an incredibly tidy lap, but to be 5/10 quicker. And let's be clear, the time from Droftas was still pretty damn good. That was just sensational. Gets incredibly close to the barriers there, Blaze, as you have to in a lot of places to really get the maximum. And he goes across the line with a 1:35.286. That puts him 7th. So we have 10 time laps so far. And I do believe Jonathan Cox is the furthest of them now on a lap. Let's see what he can do for this sector 2. So you hear that Renault engine. Doesn't have the... It's a nice engine, but for me it doesn't quite sound as nice as the Honda engine. And that has nothing to do with biases, because I'm not particularly a fan of Red Bull or anything. Yeah.
Energetics happy you made it past the pit exit.
Yes, big improvement from last week, where he got disqualified in the tunnel of Abu Dhabi. Also worth mentioning, for the championship, Droftas does have that 20-point lead on Andreas, so watch Droftas and Andreas. Total P's isn't out of it yet either, same with Young Lights. They're still contenders despite having a clash in turn 1 of that race. Now here comes Jonathan Cox. He goes second fastest with 1:34.6, but still the gap is 5/10 to the next car. German has invalidated, and the rest are on outlap. So we'll stick on board with Total P's now as on his outlap. In the
he didn't really
Williams.
have a good comeback race last weekend, didn't he?
He did. He just unfortunately lost it in the final sector. He was making such good progress. Got himself up to 7th, if I recall correctly. And then, yeah, had that unfortunate crash. The comeback after he was so far back after a collision with Young Lights in turn 1. Total Peace now starts his lap. He invalidated his first attempt. Presumably slapped on a set of new softs and is going again. It is one of those tracks where you can invalidate. As Young Lights leaves the session, at least he's done a time before then. Total P's looking maybe to get a bit of slipstream there. And he's gone a purple first sector. So, of course, the time to beat is Young Lights of a 1:34.1, which is 5/10 quicker than anyone else. So it is going to take something pretty special for Total P's to top that. Of course, it's only Q1, so he doesn't necessarily need to top that. But it's always a nice ego boost in Q1 if you're top of the charts.
Young Lights is just going to change his helmet, so if he leaves, he hasn't lagged out. He's just changed his helmet.
Ah, okay, so it wasn't a lag out. Oh, that's good to hear, at least, that he wasn't lagging out. It was just by choice.
Yeah, it's good to hear.
Helmets, of course, vital for aerodynamics. No, but you can make some sexy helmets on this game. Total P's didn't have a purple sector 2 there, worth noticing. Did have a purple first sector, though. So it's going to need a mighty final sector if he's going to beat that time from Young Lights of a 1:34.131. A little bit of a slide through there, but that won't affect him much. You need a bit of sliding around this track. Nice along the curbs, into this final corner, throws it in. Good control of the car, and it is only a 1:35.4, so it was a purple sector 3 though, so I think he must have had a really bad middle sector, because it said he had a purple sector 1, didn't have a purple sector 2, but did have a purple sector 3. Farth now starting his lap as well. Wilhelm has just set his first lap, 1:36.4. Only good enough for 12 fastest, slowest of the, second slowest of the 13 sets so far. Knowlesy coming around now to set his first lap. He goes up to 7th with a 1:35.092. So, Farth apparently has gone purple in Sector 1. That, though, might be a glitch, not 100% sure, just because I find it hard to believe that Pease messed up the second sector that bad. Didn't look like he did when we were on board with him anyway. Oh, Farth, has he got damage there? Or was it just sort of, he bounced on the wall a bit, I wonder. We'll see if we can get a better view in a second when it changes. No, it looks like he's got no damage, but he did definitely clatter the wall a bit. That won't have helped his time. Be no doubt about that. Understandably not a purple sector 2. Let's see if we can recover some time in Sector 3. and ensure his safety into Q2. He's invalidated, so we won't be seeing that because he has invalidated.
That's tough.
That is tough. Is Dan Murphy? Dan Murphy is the second furthest ahead, so we're going to stick on board with Willem then. Oh no, he's 22 seconds down. This surely isn't a fast lap. No, it isn't a fast lap, so we will stick on board then with Dan Murphy, who had an excellent race last weekend, and rightfully so got driver of the day. Where he went from, I think it was P12 to P4. Droftas retiring from the session. Is that in the pit lane, or is yeah? It is. I think it's in the pit lane. I can't see anything on the track, so he's confident he's through, and he should be. I think if you're safe in sort of the mid 135, so you're certainly safe in the 134s. Let's see what Dan Murphy can do. Can he be safe? It's not a good time. It's a 136.603. So at the moment, not a great time. Phil Ray's on a lap. He's already 2 seconds up on his first sector time. So Farth looks like he's going again. So he clearly putting enough fuel to go again. Or he's just having an incredibly quick in lap. It could be either one of them. We'll have to see. And can Farth improve on that time? Let's see.
Some of the Phil gang is back today.
Yeah, I just seen that
Phil
threat.
Get out of Q1 and burn down his apartment.
Yeah, big threat there. So a lot on the line then. A lot on the line for Phil, because he could lose his home. He could lose his home. That is the stakes that have been raised here today. So here is Phil. He's coming into the final corner now. Is he going to lose his house? No, he's not, because it looks like he's safely into Q2. That threat did the trick, because with 4 minutes to go, he's P5 with 135.031 and is comfortably safe. And as a result, so is his apartment. So,
they're saying they're trying a new approach. You didn't win with love, now we have to try with fear.
Well, yeah, it's certainly worked in that occasion. Anyway, Farth getting out the way of German. German and Fireshot Ryan, the only people to have not set laps so far. Interesting to note. So we go on board with this beautiful black Mercedes, and I tell you what, is it just me, or does the Mercedes look even sexier in this dark Singapore night?
It does.
And Dan Murphy has retired from the session.
Is that in the pits?
I'm not sure. Or is it on the pit straight? But it seems very odd to retire and...
16th, yeah.
Because he's out. Oh, bit of contact maybe there. There was a tiny bit of contact, not enough for wing damage, but there was a contact from German. What time can he do, nevertheless? We'll see. It is going to be a 134.8. He is definitely safe. And that's pushed Wilhelm into the drop zone. So far, the only one who's out of this Q1 session and out of qualifying in general is Dan Murphy. Fireshot Ryan looking to ensure that he does not join him. Wilhelm, the other one, who is currently joining Dan Murphy in exiting Q1. We'll ride on board for Fireshot Ryan as he looks to set his first lap. Notable that Willem is on an out lap. Yeah, the darker cars definitely look better in this in this nighttime setting with the lights. Because even on the Haas, which isn't a particularly attractive car, looks really sexy in this setting at the Marina Bay circuit.
Ooh, a spin there by Owen on his lap.
A spin by... Oh no. I was a bit confused by who Owen was. Oh, and Fireshot Ryan has invalidated. That's him out the session. He's not going to be able to go back in and out in time. So that means that... Fireshot Ryan is joining Dan Murphy in not making it into Q2. Oh, Wilhelm has had a spin and he's got damage. And that means Wilhelm is surely not going to improve either. And that's Wilhelm out the session, and there we have it. Wilhelm, Dan Murphy and Fireshot Ryan will not be making it into Q2. Fireshot Ryan invalidated, Dan Murphy retired for some reason, and Wilhelm has spun it and missing a big chunk of his front wing. So congrats to everyone else who can safely now retire in the pits. F1 Farth, who would have been threatened by Wilhelm, no longer threatened by him because of that mistake by the Ferrari driver. Frustrating end to him as he limps back towards the pits. We've still got some people on outlaps. Total P's, I feel like it's quite risky at this point, especially at a track like Singapore, if you're safe. Yeah, well, he's invalidated his outlap, actually. That means nothing. Yeah, we will see. I think he is going to be coming in, is he? Yes, he is. Yeah, so doing the sensible thing. Knowlesy, I presume, will be aborting. ESAT aborts. His P's now retiring, of course. Andreas is on a lap, but he will be presumably aborting that. Or maybe continuing it for Pride, I'm not sure. Wilhelm into the pits.
Feels like he can support us to chill a little bit.
What did he say?
Says Leo, chill, mate.
Oh. Right. Yeah, so we're just waiting for the final people to come into the pits and retire. Knowlesy is actually going for another lap. He could have gone in, but he's deciding he's not happy with P10. Well, there's no pressure on him to improve.
Does he Q1 though? Surely then he need to improve it, is there?
No, there's no need. Literally, he's safe. But he obviously wants to do it for personal ego boost or something. Andreas now into the pits. So we are... Knowlesy's the only one out on track. He's 2/10 down this time in the first sector. So unless there's something really special in the second, he's not going to be improving. But there is literally nothing on the line here. So he doesn't want to risk it too much. And risk crashing out. You got Pedro saying, "Run, Phil, run." Well, I mean, he doesn't have to worry about his apartment for now, at least. We'll wait for the next threat for Q2. If he's struggling to get out of Q2, might need another one of them. Knowlesy's going to come round to complete his lap, and it's not going to be an improvement, but that's the end of Q1. And we now have confirmation of the people through into Q1 and the people eliminated. We have got Phil. If Phil doesn't finish P1, he won't come back to Brazil. Wow. Yeah, no, I know Energetics that he's not quickest. That was a glitch that came up. Young Lights was quickest in Q1. But unfortunately for Q2, we lose Wilhelm, who on his flying lap spun and got damage. Dan Murphy, who retired, believe in the pit lane. Very odd. He's done that. He did that in Abu Dhabi as well. Maybe like setting himself challenges, I'm not sure. And then Fireshot Ryan, who unfortunately couldn't set a time, he invalidated. So, yeah. So yeah, quite a threat for Phil. He's not going to be allowed to go to Brazil, or come back to Brazil, if he does not get P1 in this. Is it in the race or is it in the quali? We'll have to get clarification on that.
I think it's the race.
Yeah, I presume it's the race as well. Who is going to be first out then? Mercedes Garage looks like they're going to be first out by the looks of it. Or one of the Williams. Well, actually, no, they're first up the grid, so they're not going to be first out. Renault getting in front of the Mercedes. That is the Renault of Jonathan Cox, but in front of him is a Haas of Blaise. And a lot of them coming out all at once for this Q2 session. So it looks like we got most people now on outlaps. And let's see what people can do in Q2. As you can see, actually, if I put the fitted tyres on, you can see everyone's gone out on the mediums. Literally everybody has gone out on the mediums. So I have a sneaky suspicion that the mediums is going to be the ultimate charity. Ultimate charity? Be an odd charity. The ultimate tyre strategy choice for starting this race, because the softs obviously clearly have some high wear here.
Leonardo saying hashtag the patience is over.
They're impatient. We haven't seen a Phil podium this year.
Trophy.
Yeah, we haven't seen a Phil podium this year. He's got close. We haven't seen a Phil podium this year, and he's had quite a few positions where he could have potentially got them. So I understand the frustration from the fans. Everyone is out except for Alan in the Toro, in the AlphaTauri. Sorry, I nearly called them the Toro Rosso, like they were last season. So yeah, we await the first man to cross the line, which will be Blaze, as we mentioned. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3, but that's just people going slowly. It's quite crowded out on track, looking on that track map. And, yeah, but here we go. Blaze starts his lap then. And everyone now starting to space out. Make sure they don't trip over each other for the Singapore lap. The quickest time we had in Q1 was a 1:34.1, but that was on softs, obviously, and all of these guys out are on mediums, so don't expect that sort of lap time for Q2 on the mediums, certainly, anyway. So it looks like a decent Sector 2, certainly in the 26s is what you want, I think, for sorry, for Sector 1. This for me, the sector I struggle with actually most is Sector 3, but I guess Sector 2 is probably the most technically difficult. I'm just not that gifted, so in Sector 3, even though it's not that difficult, I mess it up. Took a very nice line, very close to the wall there, which is what you want to be.
1, 2, and 3 are all difficult for me.
Pit lane's difficult for you as well. We know one of the drivers on here, Energetics, has had difficulty with pit lanes in the past, so you're not alone there. Riding the curb into this second sector, see a lot of yellow flags, some people going slowly. Looks nice and tidy through there, onto these curb chicanes, rides the curb a little bit, as you're supposed to there. And this is looking like a tidy lap. It is. It's a 1:35.3 on mediums, and I'll tell you what, that is not bad. Next up will be Jonathan Cox. I couldn't get to him in time. I'm missing everybody. I do apologise. Because that is now ESAC crossing the line. Total P's is invalidated already. Energetics crosses the line now. He goes second fastest, 1:35.1. Currently quickest is now Droftas. Yeah, 1:34.785. 756, sorry, I can't read. Total P's, as I said, has invalidated. Young Lights, that's a terrible start to his lap. It hasn't come up with the lap time he's set yet. I'm very confused about that. I think that's lag again. What about Phil? He's invalidated, Phil, gang. Be angry. Phil has invalidated.
Young Lights said he messed up his lap.
Oh! Big crash. Milan nearly wiping out another Alfa Romeo as he spun out. He so nearly wiped out the Alfa Romeo. In the end, only got wing damage. But my goodness, that was close to a wheel loss there. So we've had 9 time laps so far. Everyone else is either invalidated, got wing damage, or has gone back into the pits. So we await time laps from Total P's, Phil Razor, Farth, Elan, Milan, and Nosey. Milan will be feeling fortunate. He hasn't lost his wheel. He's had quite a few incidents like that in qualifying so far this season, where he has ended up losing a wheel after showing some good pace, and he's got to be really careful because he just got some more wing damage there. We didn't get a good view of that because for some reason the camera thought, let's stare at the car's arse, or gearbox, as I suppose I should say. I guess we'll see a better view of the damage in a minute. Doesn't seem like it's much more damage actually, but it did clatter the wall.
Ooh, Young Light's hitting the wall as well.
Well, he's on an in lap, so there's really no need for him to be risking that. Yeah, looks like he's got some slight damage. Either way, it doesn't matter. He's got his lap in and he's coming into the pits. We've got Total P's on an out lap again. He invalidated his first attempt. What can he do this time? Phil Razor will also have to be out again because he invalidated his lap. And the Phil gang will be growing restless. So yeah, Total P's, the NF1 Farth has also come out for an out lap. As we see Phil Razor on the track map coming into the pit lane. Oh no, Phil Razor does set a time, a 1:35.9. He must have just had enough fuel then. It's not a great time though, because it's 9th out of the 10 fastest times. Pease will be thanking himself that he wasn't on a fast lap there, because it was quite a lot of understeer going into that hairpin at that point. And now we wait.
Just saying tread on rain, that's why it was busy.
Oh,
tread on rain.
Interesting. That does explain why everyone's gone out early. It does. I can't. Well, you can't really tell the clouds because it's pitch black, can't you? As Total P's gets out the way of who is that one in front of him? I think that is F1 Farth, who's going to be starting his lap ahead of P. So he will switch to Farth and see what he can do, because he's, as well as Total P's, has not set a fastest lap. We'll also get a good view, hopefully, of Total P's in the background when he completes his lap. We've also got someone coming out the pits there. I think it might be Elan. No, it is a Mercedes or a Haas. I'm not 100% sure. I think it might be German or Blaze. I don't know. First sector, 26.7 from Farth. It's not rapid, but it's in the 26s. Although it is quite close, actually, so where you are on the 26s might make a difference, although it is only Sector 1. Milan is the first one to go out on softs. One's also put the softs on. He's going out as well for another run. So we are finally going to see some soft runners, and that's going to throw some something in the way of the medium runners.
Jonathan Cox saying it's saying red on my telemetry, but it's dry as fuck. Ooh.
Interesting. So yeah, the telemetry does seem to be broken at the moment, though, to be fair. You can't trust it. You have to go out for yourself, to be honest. It's one of those things. This just looked a bit shaky from Farth, especially in this final sector. He is going to complete the lap either way. Let's put one on the board. And it's only 11th. I did think it looked a bit shaky. And Pease goes second. He'll be very happy with that. That should be him through. We're on board with Elan now at the moment. He's in Sector 2. We'll also keep an eye out for One, because he's started his lap and he will be the first soft runner to set a time. And Elan has apparently gone purple in Sector 2. So Elan is very quick in that AlphaTauri. He's had quite a lot of good qualifying sessions, especially recent. Getting very up close and personal with the wall there. Almost rubbing his tyre up against it. There might have even been some very slight contact, but not enough, I don't think, to significantly affect the lap. Elan now coming around the final corner to set his first time lap, and it's going to be a 1:35.4. That puts him into the top 10 currently by around 4/10. Phil Razor looks like he's going to be going out there again on the soft tyre. German out on the mediums. Ahead of him, I think that is Esat ahead of him. So we will go from Esat to German. Phil not out yet. Milan also on a lap. Esat goes second quickest with a 1:34.9. To get into the 1:34s in the medium tyre is frankly ridiculous. And I'm actually offended that these guys have managed to do it, because that is just offensively quick on the medium tyre. As we are on board with Blaze at the moment.
Milan having a purple Sector 2.
One aborted his lap. Said he was on the softs, but he was on the mediums. Maybe that's what he's set his time on. Phil is now coming out. Phil Razor is now coming out for his lap. Phil gang. and currently he is out of qualifying. But he hasn't set a lap yet, of course. Meanwhile, Milan also hasn't set a lap. Droftas retires. He's obviously confident he's through. And yeah, with a 134. Andreas and Total Peace synchronised retirement there. Andreas a bit risky there, though. Milan now goes quickest, but that's on the soft tyre. With a 134.727, he will be safely through. So, Phil on an out lap. Have we got anyone out? I think Young Lights is out again, but I'm not sure if he's on a flying there, but he did seem to lose the car a bit. Oh, he's lagging all over the place. One retires. He can't better his time, or he hasn't got the tyres ready, or whatever. Farth is giving up. Well. Yeah, he's giving up. He's going to settle for 15th. Anyone else on laps then? Blaze is definitely not on a lap with those times. Esat will be going in, as will Milan. German on an out lap again. And as we said, Phil also up ahead of him. That is Milan and Esat. So Phil is the furthest one on the track ahead, who's about to start his flying. And I think Phil Gang will be holding their breath a bit here, because if Phil doesn't improve significantly on these soft tyres, if he has a moment, he should be safe on those softs. But one mistake around here, especially if it involves the wall and damage, and you're out. And he certainly is, because he won't have time for another lap. So this is last chance saloon for Phil Razor, as it is for German as well. Those two, the ones trying to get out of Q2 into Q3. Currently, they are about 5/10 back from Alan, but I don't think Alan's going to get out again. Well, he might do, actually. He's in the pit, so he might get out again. Either way, it's all to play for. And I wasn't paying attention to the sector time of Sector 1 there for Phil. We know if it's in the sort of the low or mid 26s, it's looking good. But I didn't actually catch what it was. Coming around the hairpin now onto the straight. Didn't get too close to the wall there. Young Lights has improved his time to 134.777. So that means he's certainly safe. It's a purple Sector 2 apparently for Phil, and he's 5/10 up on his time. So looking promising. Just needs to hold it together. Be careful not to invalidate as well. And then as soon as he's done his lap, we will switch immediately to German. Alan is not coming out again.
Jonathan's saying it's raining now.
We can't really tell from... Well, I can't tell from this camera angle. If it is.
I can see it, yeah.
Well, is Phil going to make it through then? He is just... But German could still knock him out.
What's German going to do?
He's only a 10th up, though. That's not enough at the moment. German needs an improvement, and obviously the rain is coming down a lot more. I can see it now, yep. The more the rain comes down, the more it's going to affect your lap time. Still, Phil Gang will be holding their breath here. And that's a big slide from German. That's not going to help. The rain really affecting his grip, but he's got to go for it. It's all or nothing here. You know, if he's going to bin it in the wall, this is, you know, might as well do it all out for this lap. He's got to get everything out of the car. Surely he's not going to make it. Or is he? Let's see.
Ooh.
He hasn't made it. He's only pushed himself up to 12. And there we have it. Phil Razor does get through. And we lose Alan, German, Nolsey, One, and F1 Farth from this qualifying session, with Milan being the fastest of the qualifying session with a 134.727 on the soft tyres. So we only have 2 soft runners in the top 10. So 2 of the top 10 will be starting on the softs. The other 8 will be starting on the mediums. So yeah, fortunate about the rain. For well, it nearly cost Phil. He just about got away with it. But very unfortunate for German, because it was such an uphill battle then for him, because he was slightly further behind on the track. So the rain had that little bit more of an effect. As we wait for these guys to come back around the pit, and Alan will be disappointed. He's just knocked out by under a 10th by Phil Razor. So at least he'll get the free choice of tyre. To be fair, I always say that starting P11 is better than starting P10 because of that free choice of tyre.
Yeah. I'd agree on that.
Phil comes into the pit lane. You know, in a second it's going to be time for me to... we'll wait till the start of Q3 happens, but I will be asking who's your favourite for pole.
Oof.
So you better start thinking about that, because you got time. You got time until we get into Q3.
It's going to be tough because it's going to be the only qualifying round on the rain.
And and especially as you say, because it has started raining now, it does throw a spanner in the works. I think because it is starting to rain, I would probably know who I'd go for, but I'm not going to say because I seem to curse whoever I say.
I feel like so I'm definitely gonna go someone different. I think I know who you're thinking.
Well, we will see. That is your top 10 for the Q3 shootout, which looks like it'll be a wet Q3 shootout. Milan Quickest, Droftas second, Young Lights third, ESAT, PEs, Jonathan Cox, Energetics, Blaze, Andreas and Phil through, and unfortunately we lose Alan, Gurman, Nolsey, Ona and Farth from the qualifying session. And now into the session where it all counts. And looking at those gaps in times, it's looking like it's going to be a tasty session, but especially with that rain, that's going to throw another factor, another spanner into the works, as it would, as I guess I should say, for this qualifying session. Wow, so Q3 was an obligation, apparently. I'm just looking in the comments, so it's a good thing that Phil just snuck in. Because, yeah, that was crucial for him. He did dedicate his lap to Leo, to be fair, and it did pay off just about. And it is raining, and it looks like we've got people on the intermediates going out, and the first of them is Young Lights. He's out on the intermediates. Is he going to get beaten by someone here to the end of the pit lane? No, he's not. Young Lights is going to be first out, and that looks like there's a William behind him coming out, and that is Total P's behind Young Lights. As I cheekily unplug my mic for a second, completely on purpose and not accidentally at all.
Phil asking Leo if he feels his pole.
Wow, I like that confidence. I really like that confidence. Young Light's unfortunately lagging, so I don't think we're going to get a good picture of him, his lap. As you can see, he's just dancing around the screen. So we're going to go on board to the person behind him in Total P's, because we will have a chance of actually seeing a proper lap without the unfortunate problems with the internet connection. But that should be fixed soon, hopefully, for Young Lights, because he's very quick. Just the internet connection's unfortunately letting him down a bit at the moment. But he's still... that won't affect him in qualifying. It's only mainly the race. And you can see on the onboard of Total P's, it has got a lot wetter. These guys are going to be struggling for grip. They're going to have to be a lot more cautious on the curbs as well, and on the throttle. Of course, it is a dry race, so these guys will all be on dry setups. It's not completely wet, it's intermediate conditions, and it's not too heavy, but anything that sort of diminishes your grip around this track is very unwelcome. I'm sure most drivers will agree with that. See P's warming up his tyres. Just behind him, I think that is... no, it's not Energetics. It's his teammate in Andreas behind Total P's. He's now backing up. Doesn't want to obviously get held up. But we all now go on board for Total P's lap. And I have actually recently been enjoying this onboard camera view a lot more. Very cautious. Not too much of a slide through there. A lot more cautious line, but slow and steady does actually weirdly make you a bit quicker in the wet. Because it's less slidey and that costs you so much time. So this is looking quite steady, but that's what you need in the wet. We've got quite a cluster in Sector 1. As Total Peace does a quickest first sector. Seems to be quite a lot of cars on the track map that I can see that are very close to each other, so they're going to be getting in each other's way for laps, so did not obviously space out enough. So very early break into that corner there from Total Peas. We are going to stick on board with him though, as I said we would. Don't want to break my word. So far, so good though. Into the hairpin, and that bridge section doesn't have much grip, and he nearly clips his wing in a big slide there. Eases on the throttle, as you should do in these conditions. Doesn't take too much curb. Back end doesn't go out too much there. We've got a yellow flag. Someone's crashed in the bridge section, I do believe.
It's Phil.
It's Phil. Oh, yeah,
Phil.
it is Phil. It was just
Like
before the bridge section. Oh, he's collided with Jonathan Cox as well, who's got damage. Oh, dear. Well, Phil is not getting that pole then. He lied to you guys. No, jokes aside, it is very difficult conditions. Young Lights is a 151.4. That's the time to beat. Oh, Peace nearly invalidates right at the line. And that would have cost him a bit of time. It's a 151.6. Next across the line is Blaze. Then it's Energetics is invalidated. Then it is ESAT. He invalidated as well. Energetics is invalidated, as I said. Phil's got damage. I think Jonathan Cox doesn't have damage, but he was hit.
Landslide's in a bit.
Andreas is retired. Was that in the pits? I presume it was in the pits, because I haven't seen anything. Yeah, Andreas is retired in the pits. Milan is also coming into the pits. So we are only going to have 4 timed laps at the moment. And currently, on provisional pole, by just under 2/10, is Young Lights. Jonathan Cox did set out a time in the end. Has he got enough fuel to go round again, I wonder, because he apparently was involved in an altercation where I think Phil Razor spun it just before the bridge section, and then maybe because of that spin, Jonathan Cox can avoid him. Something like that, I presume. Anyway, we'll see if anyone's saying anything in the comments anyway. Leonardo's saying no more promises. And the love is over, Phil. Wow, this is brutal. It looks like he will be racing with fear then. Of course, he's still got time to improve it, but even if he does get pole, he'll be starting 5 places down from that position. Just going to quickly check the telemetry to see if it is a flying. He is using ERS, but he has had a big spin there, so he might be coming into the pits then. He might continue before that little sort of slide, but I'm not sure he'll continue now. He would still improve on his previous time, but maybe not significantly enough to justify it. Energetics does get his first lap in. It's a 152.9. We got Milan and Droftas also on outlaps. Remember, Droftas is the king in the wet when it comes to these conditions. Jonathan Cox is going to come across the line. He does a 153.5. I forgot to ask you, who is your favourite for pole? I'll ask you now.
Funny enough, mine actually was Young Lights. I was thinking Young Lights.
Yeah. Do you smell that comment?
Nah.
Do you smell that?
I generally was because he did look consistent in
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Anyway, there's still a long way to go and people to do laps. So, and only 5 people have done time laps as we've seen so far. So that is by no means set in stone. As Jonathan Cox has done a purple first sector, so maybe that provisional pole is already under threat.
Who do you think is going to go on to pole for you cursing today?
I'm not going to say because I will curse them. I will tell you after. I have given some hints. I did give you some hints at the end of Q2, so if you want to work it out from there, go back in the stream.
I think I know.
Jonathan Cox going wide there. We got a yellow flag in Sector 3, but that's just... that was an Alfa Romeo just overtaking the Mercedes, I think. So furthest and about to start their flying lap is Droftas, the man who's got the most poles this season. And is now starting his lap. And into the first couple of corners. Ooh, a little bit shaky there. Uncharacteristic mistake there from Droftas in the rain, but he might be fueled enough to do more than one lap. He'll be hoping for his sake that he is. Going to stay on board with him. We'll keep an eye on what's going on elsewhere, though. Must be getting quite wet in that cockpit now. I think that's why. Yeah, I'd hate driving in the rain even if I was good at it, like in real life on F1 in an F1 car, because you just get absolutely drenched. You'd be sitting in a puddle, wouldn't you? It'd be so uncomfortable. I mean, obviously they're not particularly comfortable anyway, but even so. Young Lights is coming around to start his lap. What will it be, his final attempt, I presume? Total P is also starting his out lap just now.
Leonardo with the threats. Hope you like the weather of Singapore, Phil, because if you don't bring us back a podium, don't you bother taking a flight back home.
Oh wow. We've got a spinner in Sector 2, but they're okay now. I don't think they got any damage, or if they did, they haven't retired anyway. So we stick on board with Droftas, very cautious through that curb there. And although cautious can gain you a lot of time in the rain, is it going to be enough to beat Young Lights' time? Sector 3, there's a yellow. I think it's just someone going slowly again. Droftas now going to try and send it. No, he's quite cautious again. And this is going to be not the quickest time. It's a 1:52.92. That is... well, I guess...
Really good,
yeah, by his standards, that is about that time. Milan is going to be aborting this lap, surely. Yeah, he is. But I'll tell you what, that's Milan out of Q3. He's not going to have time to do another lap. So now we go on board with Phil. This isn't looking like a great lap, not going to lie. Certainly not going to be a pole lap. It's going to be the slowest of the laps so far. It's going to be a 1:58.0, and it's P7, the slowest of the timed laps so far. But currently still good enough for P7, and it will be good enough for at least P8. Because Milan is in the pits, he won't have time for another lap, and Andreas retired. So now it comes down to ESAT. We'll also...
penalty though.
Total P's is coming around, trying to improve his time. That looks good from Total P's. It's not quite good enough. He does improve, but it's not enough to beat Young Lights. Young Lights still on pole then, as it stands, but Droftas is 3/10 up on his time. And it is second up in Sector 2. Droftas maybe going cautious on the first lap as a banker, and now going all out. ESAT's now gone quickest with a 1:51.429. He's currently on provisional pole. Now all eyes now on Droftas. I'm not sure if Blaze is on a lap as well. No, he's not on a lap. Unsure about Energetics, but we'll keep on board with Droftas because he'll be the next one to cross the line. And probably the biggest threat to ESAT for his pole for the reserve. He is the Rainmaster usually. And he's got the most poles in this division. And he's done it again!
Ooh.
He's done it again, and I'm not going to say whether or not he was my favourite for pole yet, because Energetics is 3/10 up. And I probably already have cursed him by hinting it again. Energetics is 3/10 up, so Energetics is his only threat. Oh no, Phil is 2 seconds up. Phil might actually be another threat, as well as Energetics. So maybe the pole is not on the bag yet. Phil is going to improve. It's not going to be enough for pole, but it's going to be enough for P7 at least for now. Energetics now 1.6 seconds up in that second sector. Energetics seems to usually struggle in the rain, but This so far so good this lap. He's certainly improving by a significant margin. And he's gone over that curb. Lovely. Very risky to do so, but if it pays off, it can gain you a lot of time into this tricky tunnel sort of, well, bridge section, I guess. Oh, slide damage.
Oh.
Damage and a slide. And he will not be improving on his time, surely. Or if he does improve, it's not going to be pole. Or is it? Oh, he drifts across the line to get pole! Unbelievable! I can't believe it! He's drifted across the line to get pole. He spun across the line to get pole. I cannot believe it.
That's fantastic.
That's unbelievable scenes. Wow. Division 1 does not disappoint in qualifying. We've just seen pole position clinch, and I did curse it for Droftas, I do apologise. But that was only, this is why I shouldn't have said, and I did well by not saying who my favourite pole was for so long. But Energetic spinning across the line. And I thought with that little clip of the wall, there was no way he was getting pole. But he kept going, and then I saw the times and thought, oh, yeah, this might be close. And then he spins across the line. I'm thinking, well, he's definitely not got pole, but he has. He's got it by 3/10,
yep.
Despite the fact he spun across the line. That is unbelievable.
And like I said, he went a whole second faster than got the lap invalidated near the end.
Well, that will unfortunately
They exceeded track limits. That
will unfortunately be lag. Phil is obviously got P8, but he's got a 5-place grid penalty, so he's starting P13. So disappointing for Phil. And apparently, Jonathan Cox having an incident with Phil, apparently reversing the track. But my goodness, that is one of the most epic poles I've ever seen. To drift across the line like that. Well, spin, it wasn't even a drift, it was a full-on spin, actually. And he already had some slight wing damage, I think, from colliding with the wall. And I did say Energetics, he does usually struggle in the wet. But not today. He's got pole position, and that is, I do believe that's Energetic's second pole position of the season. So we now wait for the formation lap and everyone to load. And whilst we're doing that, I'm going to leave you with the thoughts of Cameron Cross, and this is very risky, but I need to go to the toilet.
Jeez, that's like I know what to say. Yeah, that is unlucky, young lights. I did have you favourite for pole. What do we expect to Phil and race? I reckon top 6 finish for Phil today. Top 6 finish for Phil today. I believe he can get that. I believe he can get a top 6 finish. Only if it was a Formula 2 sprint race, Phil. Only if it was.
Do not fear, Maz is here. I'm back.
Oh, great.
And, yeah, well, I did see that comment from Phil saying he tried to get 8th for a reason, but he's actually failed spectacularly because he did qualify 8th, but he got the 5-place grid penalty, so he's not actually going to be starting 8th. And now Phil is now claiming he's not Phil, even though he's been speaking as Phil the whole time. Or maybe actually isn't, I'm not sure. I just presumed it was Phil from the name. Or he's just trying to escape responsibility. Energetics, as I said, on pole. And as I'm back now, we will put the lap data and details. As you can see, the tyres. Everyone in the top 10, because obviously Phil dropped out of the top 10 with that penalty. is on the mediums apart from Milan in the softs, and Alan, who I did say P11's not a bad qualifying position, he's been jumped up a position to P10 because of that penalty for Phil, and he's gone for the hard tyres, and that is a really good strategy. That's actually how I got a really good finish last year in ALR. No, it was in VIL actually. It was last year in VIL that I got a good result here in Singapore, and I started on the hards, and with the safety car and everything, it played out quite nicely. So I think that's a very good strategy. We've got a couple of other people on hards. We've got Nolsey, One, Farth, etc. Now, just bear in mind this happens every race. We're going to have a glitch where all the people are out of position, but I'm sort of a bit more used to it now. So just focus on the cars rather than the left-hand side of the screen for the first as we get underway.
Leah's saying he should be pressuring Phil more. Throw water in his face and sort his family steal his food.
Well,
the
pressure will be getting to him now because 5 red lights, and away we go, and a lot of smoke there. Looks like Droftas has got a decent start. Looks like there's quite a few wide here. Total Peas gets an amazing start, but he hasn't really gone on much of the track there. Looks like Young Lights went off the track as well.
Young Lights has gone off.
Total Peas was up to P2. Young Lights down to P11. I think he went quite wide. Looks like he's escaped damage though. It's a very hectic start to the race, but actually we didn't have the glitch for positions. And so there we have it. We have Energetics leading from Total Peas, who had a brilliant start, but although did sort of cut the corner quite a bit. I'm not sure if he got a few warnings for that. Droftas, who he leapfrogged in P3, and Esat in P4. We got a crash at the back of the grid. It's Farth who spun round. I think there was contact. Phil is back there, and Phil's got wing damage. Phil has wing damage. And Total Peas has made a mistake because Droftas has got back through. And I don't see how he overtook him without there being a mistake there. Meanwhile, Energetics, the gap is to 1.1 seconds. And look how close the McLaren of Esat is also getting. And as we start this race, Energetics actually is being pulled back slowly. But Total Peas had an amazing start. But then I missed what happened. He surely made a mistake coming out of the corner because to yield the position to Droftas so soon after certainly raised eyebrows. Andreas looks like he's getting in range of German, all the cars bunched up together. But I tell you what, for people who have damage, for people who've had bad starts, you can get rescued by the safety car. It's quite likely that you have a safety car here because it's very easy to crash and get damage. So start of the race, and Energetics leads in the first lap. Ignore the okay, now it goes. Now the board goes weird, but Energetics is actually in P1, and Droftas in P2, Total Peas in P3, Alan is in no, he's not in P4. Young Lights coming in for his wing change, so Young Lights did get wing damage, and he's gone on to the mediums, so he's not going for the hards. Yeah, Phil also opting for the mediums and not the hards. As we wait for it to be corrected again. Oh, you gotta love Codemasters. You gotta love them for not correcting it. But this man is actually the man in the lead, and that is Energetics. And I tell you what, Droftas has closed on him quite a bit since we last saw him. Young Lights is not on first, unfortunately for him. That is a glitch. It is the man Energetics who is in the lead. Again, apologies, but Cody seems to be refusing to patch this glitch with the positions all over the place. But either way, we'll focus on what we can see, as it's now corrected itself, thankfully. Oh, yeah. And yeah, Energetics in P1, Droftas second. And the closest sort of fight at the moment is Jonathan Cox, Skirman, and Blaze at the moment. Total Peas gets a 3-second time penalty. Doesn't surprise me, he was on some warnings, considering how aggressive he was at the start. Still a good P3, and this is looking good for Droftas currently in the championship fight. Currently, as it stands, obviously extending his lead, but it's only lap 2, a long way to go. There is our race leader, and I tell you what, he's not had a great exit. It's Droftas as the fastest lap of the race, and he's now closing on Energetics as we go on board for him through this first sector. Of course, both on the medium tyres. And a 5-second penalty for Willem for speeding in the pit lane, and he's retired from the session. He's had enough. And we have our first exit So Phil will be demoted from will be promoted from 18th to 17th. That's, I guess, some consolation. He will be relying now purely on the safety car for saving his race. Meanwhile, at the front, as we see, Alan is past One. And looks like Young Lights is retired from the session, but he's done it in the pits. Seems to be obviously given up a bit easily there quite early on. Could have been saved by a safety car, but maybe the lag was too much, I'm not sure. Fireshot Ryan now getting a penalty. But this is the closest battle on track at the moment. He's got DRS, Jonathan Cox. Is he going to make a move on Blaze? He's going to almost have to because of his braking point, and nearly spins round there. Meanwhile, Droftas right up behind Energetics there. It was almost 3/10 there. So maybe Energetics burnt a lot of his ERS or something, I'm not sure. We don't look at the telemetry because we don't want to give an advantage to drivers. But for some reason, Droftas is really... Oh, we had a big slide there, though, as we see a load of time penalties come on the screen. Milan and Jonathan Cox were those with 3-second time penalties. Apparently, Young Lights got hit by beer.
Yeah, I was trying to read that, trying to wonder, like...
Well, that's disgraceful behaviour from the fans. If they're chucking beer onto the track, that's unbelievably dangerous. And that is shocking. But yeah, apparently that gave him wing damage. Oh, and then he got wing damage again after pitting. Okay, I understand why he gave up then.
Just frustration.
Yeah, if you get wing damage straight after you pit for wing replacement, it is really frustrating. Jonathan Cox getting really close again to Blaze. Almost outbrakes himself there. Also keeping an eye on that battle at the front, because Droftas really seems to gain in the second sector on Energetics. Oh, apparently the beer cans... Oh, Phil's done the fastest lap. But apparently, yeah, the beer cans were from the Phil fans trying to hit Phil. And it's obviously worked. It's obviously worked, the beer cans thing, because although it's ruined Young Lights' race, it's helped out Phil Razor in getting the fastest lap. Droftas too far back. He is going to gain a bit, but he's too far back at the moment to make a move. Of course, there aren't that many overtaking opportunities at this track.
Next time they're going to throw Molotovs.
Well, that would be horrific. As Fireshot Ryan goes for the move on One, down the inside. They're going to be side by side. Of course, One on those hard tyres. Fireshot Ryan with those slightly warmer tyres and those quicker tyres and the mediums gets the job done. So he is up into P10, the final point scoring position. Meanwhile, Droftas continues to hunt down the race leader, Energetics, followed by Total P's in the Williams, and ESAT making his debut from reserve. Then we have Blaze, closely followed and hunted by Jonathan Cox. Well, starting to settle down a bit, and it will sort of now be on try not to make mistakes and tyre consumptions, although tell that to Droftas because he's got a great run on Energetics. I have no idea what I'm talking about, clearly. This isn't the first time I've been exposed for that. But, yeah, Droftas getting very close and almost lining up a move, but he hasn't been able to do it, and that has allowed Total P's to get quite close to him as well. As we see more threats in chat to Phil's family. And we are now looking at the battle for first, second and third. That little sort of look from Droftas on Energetics has really brought Pease into this battle as he waits behind, and you have a really good view of this Droftas and Energetics battle, which Pease is starting to come into, and eventually that will help ESAT. He's slowly gaining on the cars in front. Jonathan Cox still behind Blaze. Meanwhile, further down, Dan Murphy on the soft tyres, going for the move on One. Down the inside, One on those hard tyres, of course. Dan Murphy on those softs, a quicker tyre, but he hasn't made it stick, has he? No, he hasn't made it stick. That was a terrible camera angle, though, so we couldn't tell. One has managed to defend, so good job from him, and look how close these three are. Meanwhile, we go back to the battle for the top three. Droftas, Total P's, well, Energetics, Droftas, and Total P's in that order. Velocity wants an invite to the party, but I do believe it's invite only, and I'm the host. So, I'm afraid Velocity will have to wait for a bit until there's a safety car or VSC or something, because at the moment we're seeing quite a lot of track actions, including from Droftas. Again, too far back for Energetics, who does lock up.
Just want an invite to the session, though, so I'm inviting to the session for him.
Yeah, you could give him an invite to the session, I guess. But obviously, nothing for parties. Jonathan Cox gets another 3-second time penalty. And meanwhile, this is now the closest battle on track. Dan Murphy's fallen back from One after that previous failed attempt of an overtake. So yeah, the closest battle we'd like to see it is at the front between, as you say, these three drivers, the Alfa Romeo of Energetics, the championship leader in Droftas in the AlphaTauri, and of course Total Peas in the Williams, who is another championship front runner, currently in P3 in the championship standing. We've got a yellow flag. It's Alan. He's had trouble, and not sure. Oh, well, he's just teleported across the track. What on earth happened there? Very confused. But either way, he's lost positions. I can't actually see. It doesn't look like he has damage. No, he has slight damage to his left wing plate. But yeah, Alan, who was running, I think he was running quite decently. He was certainly in the points.
Phil's spinning up, losing control a little bit there.
Well, he's managed to save it. But meanwhile, more significantly, Droftas has got a 3-second time penalty, and he's the first of the front three. Actually, no, Total Peas has a 3-second time penalty. So far, Energetics, the only driver in this out of the top three who hasn't got a time penalty. But look how close Droftas was to him here, and now he's going to have DRS. And surely this time he's going to be close enough. He's going for the inside. Energetics trying to go around the outside. Good clean racing from both of them. Energetics now going to have the inside line though. Is Droftas surely isn't going to have the room.
Peas' position here.
Yeah, Peas is in a very good position just to watch this. But Droftas has somehow got through, but they're side by side. And it's Peas now going to go for a move on Droftas. He's now side by side with Droftas. Droftas will have the inside line though, and yeah, opportunistic there from Peas, but unfortunately for him, just wasn't the move. But in the end, Energetics holds on to that first position. Brilliant defending and a good battle between all three of these drivers. And I tell you what, it's not over yet, because Droftas is well within DRS range, and of course Peas is as well, although just not a long enough straight here to make the move. And you can see the other cars behind actually are starting to close up. ESAT, Blaze, Jonathan Cox a bit further back. So the more these three battle, it brings in other drivers such as ESAT and Blaze.
Yeah.
Who are, well, Blaze is certainly getting pulled away along by ESAT's DRS. We're going to watch this mainly from P's POV at the moment, because I think it's the best sort of view of the Droftas Energetics battle, and as we've seen, he can get involved just as they start to battle. And there we are, the pit window is open for those who are doing the two-stop strategy to the hards. I presume it'll be a one-stop strategy, although we've got Jonathan Cox going into the pits. This will confirm it. Let's see what strategy he will be doing. If he goes on to another set of mediums, he's definitely doing the one-stop. He's gone on to the hard tyre, is that? Yeah, it's the hard tyre, so I think it will be the one-stop. Or maybe going for softs at the end. We will have to see. Not 100% sure on the strategy round here. Cameron, have you invited Velocity to the session?
To the session, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, unfortunately, too much action on track. We don't want to, for the moment, to invite him. Knowlesy's getting past One. I think that was just a standard DRS through. Phil promoted up to 14th as One gets a 3-second time penalty. As Dan Murphy's gone in the pits. He started on the soft tyres, so he's going for the two-stop strategy. Now on the mediums. Surely won't be able to take them to the end, so yeah, he'll definitely be doing the two-stop strategy, I do believe. Maybe for another set of mediums at some point. And look at that, the McLaren of ESAT right behind Total Peas, nearly within DRS range. This chat's gone quite quiet. Not much for the Phil gang, to be fair, to chant about much at the moment.
There isn't, not much at the moment, is there? No.
And apart from that,
no more threats at the moment either.
Yeah, no more threats. I think hopefully Phil's got the message from the previous ones. But at the moment, it's sort of settled down a bit. But the gap is still within DRS range, but it's going to take a big mistake for those positions to change. Although Droftas starting to gain once again onto Energetics, as Farf gets a 3-second time penalty. We'll keep a close eye on Energetics if he gets any penalties, because currently out of these top three, he hasn't got a penalty. Andreas, who was on the hards, has pit for the... Oh, no, he was on the mediums, apparently. No, sorry, I was getting Andreas mixed up with Ono. Andreas, who was on the mediums, pits for the hard
they're
tyre.
breaking his furniture, that's why they went silent.
Oh, wow, and Andreas has got wing damage. He's got wing damage, so he's pit for a new wing. Meanwhile, Pease is falling back a bit from this battle in front. And he's now officially out of DRS zone. So Pease struggling to catch, to keep up with these two aliens when it comes to pace. And good on Alan, he's responding, he hasn't given up. He's still going, and he set the fastest lap of the race. And there we have the owner of the league supporting vandalism. And Energetics has a little bit of a slide. Not enough to really allow Droftas to close up enough, though. As we see the continued discussion on what actions to take for Phil. You know what? We love the engagement, so we're not going to complain. Droftas has a little spin.
He's hearing these threats.
Yeah, well, Droftas has a little spin there. And as you can see, this is the only battle that's in DRS range at the moment. Droftas is going into the pits. Droftas pits then. He's going for the undercut. So that will release ESAT onto Energetics. And we will keep an eye... Oh, Pease has responded. Pease has responded to Droftas. He also pits. So we'll keep an eye on what this pit stop will be. It's onto the hard tyres for Droftas. Total Pease also going into the hard tyres. He's not going to leapfrog Droftas. Where is that going to bring Droftas out, though? And Pease, we're about to see. And Farth is going to leapfrog them both. What about Milan? He's too far back. So, yeah, Droftas and Total Pease slip behind F1 Farth. And now it's about Energetics pumping in these laps. He's got a healthy lead. So now he can begin to pump in these laps to try and respond to that undercut from Droftas and Total Pease. So far, has looked in control. At the moment, we haven't got many battles in DRS range with the exception of Dan Murphy, but that's between 14th and 13th. So I will now take the opportunity to quickly pause the stream and invite the league owner to the party. If you're angry about this, yeah, that's down in P14. I promise you're not missing anything. I really hope you're not. If not, take it up with the league owner. He's a disgrace. There we go. We got the invite out. And we're back. And thankfully, nothing seems to have changed, except for Droftas just getting really close to F1 Farth. But not close enough for the move. Farth has obviously started on these hard tyres, whilst Droftas on those fresh hards. Energetics is in the pits. Now, the crucial thing is, will the undercut have failed or worked for Droftas and Pease? We're about to find out. Energetics comes in for those hard tyres. It's a decent stop. It's a decent stop. We look now for Droftas, who will have the benefit of DRS. We are going to see if he comes out in front of Energetics. Energetics exiting the pit lane. Droftas coming through. And there's Energetics. They're going to be almost side by side. They are side by side. There's almost contact. Oh, it's 3 wide. Total Pease is almost getting them all here, and he's going around the outside of Droftas. He's done it. He has. Unbelievable opportunism, and the undercut has worked for both of them. But the biggest winner of the undercut is Total Pease, who is now in the net race lead. That is an unbelievable move there. Such brilliant opportunism to use that battle between Energetics coming up the pits and Droftas to then make the move. So we hear the grunt of velocity. So I'm just talking to myself. Brilliant.
Very soon, not one to be heard.
Look how close this battle is, and I tell you what, Droftas hasn't given it up because this is for the net lead. F1 Farth is doing his role nicely here. He's just sort of bunching all these guys up together, and Droftas is now... Is he going to go for the move? He's too far back. He doesn't risk it. Energetics right here, and these cars are so close to each other's gearboxes. Farth won't have to pit for a few more laps as we see those on the mediums. Blaze is the current race leader, but not net-wise because he hasn't pitted. He has now German now is released into the lead. But this man, Total Peas, has pitted. He's in the net lead. And he is right behind Total Farth. F1 Farth. Total Peas and Total Farth, apparently. Total Peas right behind F1 Farth. He needs to get past him because Droftas is lurking behind. And F1 Farth is going to go defensive. He's got the inside line. Total Peas goes to the outside. There's a bit of wheel banging. Oh, Farth is defending that unbelievably well. And there's more wheel banging. Droftas is now going to get past Total Peas because of that battle. And he's leapfrogged Total Peas. Total Peas will be fuming with F1 Farth. Absolutely fuming. Droftas now going for the move on Farth. I tell you what, you do not want to be stuck behind Farth. Is it going to be 3 wide here? Peas thinks about it. Does touch Farth slightly, but not enough. And Droftas is through into P4, and that is the net lead. Unfortunate for Total Peas. Wait, Energetics has made a mistake because ESAT has got past him. ESAT is also pitted. Energetics now down into net P4. Well, Peas has literally lost the net lead of this race because of that aggressive defending from F1 Farth. And he will be fuming because Farth, obviously, on those old hards, just trying to make the race interesting, I guess. But Peas will not be happy with that because Droftas is now pulling away. And meanwhile, he's stuck behind Farth. And he's lost that position when he was effectively in the lead. Yeah, Leonardo's saying 3 wheel bangs. It really was. Meanwhile, their man Phil is going to be coming back to a lot of damaged furniture as Dan Murphy gets past Blaze, who seems to have disconnected. Phil is currently sitting in P13. He might want to get a move on if he ever wants to sit on his couch again. That made it sound like a death threat, didn't it? I meant just because they burnt his furniture.
His family again.
Yeah. Total Peas, Farth must be absolutely draining everything on these straights because Peas cannot get past at the moment. Almost going into the back of him, and this is suiting ESAT really nicely and bringing Energetics back into this. We're going to sit on board from ESAT's point of view, actually, for this Farth Total Peas battle. As we see ahead, Total Peas now side by side,
as well.
and he goes aggressively to make the move done, and Farth gets a 3-second time penalty for that. ESAT nearly goes into the back, and Energetic almost nearly goes into the back of it. Total Peas is finally through, but now he's got to chase down Droftas, who's now 3 seconds ahead. That's how much time that Farth cost Total Peas. And look at this big train behind Farth. You've got ESAT, Energetics, Milan. Milan's back in this race. Can you believe it? From the poor qualifying position, he's right back in this. Oh, and there's contact there between ESAT and Farth. That's going to give Energetics a really good run. Hello. Energetics looking to make the move. Goes down the inside. Oh my goodness! He just swerved out the way. He nearly lost his wheel. And he had to take huge action there. But that's cost him massively. He will now be... Yeah, he'll be rejoining the track.
That's some good driving there from Energetics, really, to thread the needle and avoid the contact.
Goes in the pits. Yeah, that's not even like sarcasm or anything. He actually was amazing there because he outbraked himself, but he managed to recover in terms of he avoided the other car in front, which was really good to see. And some drivers wouldn't have done that. Some drivers would have gone, you know, I'd rather ruin another driver's race and my own race than rather potentially ruining my own. So fair play on him for doing that. That's good sportsmanship. Good to see from Energetics.
But I do think ESAT's going to be going past Farth on this straight.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Look how close he is. But yeah, really unfortunate, as we say, for Energetics. Phil Razor is into the points because something's happened to Blaze. He's not in the pits, but I'm just going to stick on board with these two. At the moment, he brakes late, goes around the outside. Farth pushes him off the track. He has every right to do so there, though. Dives down the inside. Surely contact. They wheel bang, but no damage. Crucially, no damage. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what happened to Blaze.
Really?
Oh, he disconnected.
Farth's defending aggressive, but really doing a job for his teammate.
Yeah, he is. He is helping Milan come into this brilliantly. Milan on those younger mediums. ESAT's got to be patient. Surely you can't overtake there. Locks up. Very risky move, and luckily Farth gave him the room because Farth wasn't necessarily entitled to give him the room there because that's not an overtaking position. But I think ESAT's just getting so frustrated. And he's got a 3-second time penalty, and there's more wheel banging. Wheel banging central.
I was just a bit desperate there, really. There's no way it was ever going to work.
But you can sort of understand it, can't you? Because
he's lost 4 seconds to Pease.
Yeah. Oh, you can't understand a crazy move like that, though. There are some moves that you think that's a bit desperate, but that was a bit more than desperate. He's very lucky that he didn't ruin both their races there.
Hey, what Fast given a really good introduction to this league, isn't he?
Yeah, he is really. He's made this race a lot more interesting than it would have been. Milan is in the pits. So that elevates Jonathan Cox into this battle. So Jonathan Cox now right behind Esat and Farth. That's another thing that Farth has done. He's helped out Jonathan Cox, and further down the road as Fireshot Ryan retires in the pit lane. Further down the road, Dan Murphy as well. Will Esat now get him on the straight?
Well, Andreas looks like he could be passing Phil very soon as well, so you might want to look out for that. Except for Andreas is going really slowly.
Because we have a virtual safety car, and the reason we have a virtual safety car is, to be fair to Fireshot Ryan, he retired in the pit lane, but his car, I think, came back out, so that's triggered a VSC. So yeah, currently Nosey is in the lead, but he's on 14-lap-old hards. He will have to pit. Droftas is in the net lead of this race in P2. Total P's net P3. Farth in 4th with those old hard tyres as well. Esat in 5th, but what is essentially a net P3. Then we have Jonathan Cox and Dan Murphy. German, Phil Razor, who had that after that shocking start, is in the points up to P9. But as you rightly say, Velocity Andreas is behind him. And once this VSC ends, we'll be looking to have a go because Phil is on 12-lap-old mediums.
I am wondering if this VSC is going to allow Esat to maybe get his head back together, because in the last couple he did lose it. But Jonathan Cox has got an amazing restart and almost got past straight away. And
Phil and Andreas were battling, but I think Phil's managed to defend. Meanwhile, with this battle, Jonathan Cox did get another 3-second time penalty. I think he's into the double figures for time penalties, so we need to consider that when we think about his position. You need to watch for
Dan as well. Dan's catching up very quickly to the back of Farth.
And we know how talented he is. Meanwhile, we're looking at Andreas and Phil Razor, but we will go back because Esat is in DRS range, obviously a Farth. Bit too far back, but look at the move from Jonathan Cox. Going down the inside, I tell you what, Esat will be so frustrated. Because in reality, he should be past F1 Farth by now, just on pure pace alone. But he's wheel banging along. And Andreas just get past Phil Razor.
Esat is trying to slide into fast DMs.
We do love the Brazilian Brazilian comments. They really are brilliant to see, the engagement in commentary. Even when Phil's not doing well, they provide us with plenty of entertainment. And Esat, and well, someone who's certainly provided us with plenty of entertainment today is Farth, who continues to hold up Esat.
At the moment, he's placing his car perfectly.
He is. He's defending aggressively, but legally, and Esat loses the back end, and Jonathan Cox. Oh, that was...
There's no wing damage, luckily for him.
Yeah, very lucky, but that's going to allow Dan Murphy. Look how close Dan is now as well. I think Jonathan Cox was just a tiny bit too impatient there, because you can't really overtake in that area.
He's actually closing up to the back of Droftas, so he has pulled about 8 tenths in since he passed.
He has, although I wonder if that time behind Farth will prove decisive at the end of the race, because obviously they were so close. But then Droftas managed to get past Farth, and Pease couldn't for another few laps, unfortunately for him.
Jonathan Cox has just let Dan Murphy through.
They're not teammates, so... he's going into the
Jonathan's
pits.
gone into the pits. Okay, I get it. It's polite, really.
He doesn't have wing damage, so...
But he might have some small wing damage that we can't see.
Yeah, possibly. Also worth mentioning that that's going to elevate Andreas and
he's
Phil.
changing his front wing.
So he did have damage. Esat, he's got to... Oh, he's gone into the back of Farth! He's gone into the back of him. He just managed to save it. But he will have damage. He will have damage, and Dan Murphy's gaining on Esat. He's going to be a bit too far back. And Esat just can't get past Farth. He outbraked himself and went into the back of him. We can't see any damage, but we couldn't see any damage with the Jonathan Cox incident, and he obviously clearly had it. So Esat might have some damage there.
Murphy's just sort of hanging behind. I feel like he knows something's going to happen. He's
Something's
very, very
Energetics
good
and Milan getting past disconnected Blaze. And yeah, I think Dan Murphy's just waiting for the perfect time to pounce. Maybe when Isak gets held up by Farth if he goes for a move.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to get involved in that, would you?
No, not. I think the wise thing here is just to sort of hang back. But Isak really has to get past Farth.
He's lost 9 seconds now. This is
this is disastrous.
You can see the frustration for.
I mean, he's currently still on for a podium, but
yeah, he's looking like he's going to lose it everywhere and just dump it into the wall.
Yeah, he's pushing so hard. He could lose that podium going for the win. Also worth mentioning, Droftas got his another penalty, so he's on 6 seconds. Milan also gets one when he gets past Energetics. That was a nice move he just caught the end of. Knowlesy's still our race leader, though. You can go really long on those hards. Surprisingly,
he'll be pitting around lap 20 to...
I think maybe lap 20 for mediums. You could potentially even go softs, but the softs do wear quite quickly around this track. Isak, he's getting so close to Farth. So... But he's going around the outside. Why is he going around the outside rather than the inside? Oh, no, he gets a 5-second penalty for speeding the pit lane. And I think that was the wrong decision by Isak. Because it wasn't like Farth forced him to go to the outside. He just chose the outside for some reason. And it makes it a lot more difficult from that corner. I'm on board currently with Dan Murphy because he's gained a lot more since that failed move from Isak. Oh, is Isak going to go for a move here again? I hope not. He hasn't. He's just binned it. Oh dear, that was never going to work. That was never going to work, and that's elevate Dan Murphy into the podium
VSC
position
as well. Got VSC out.
Oh, I tell you what that is. That's the impatience getting the better of him.
Yeah.
He just lost his head, I think, in the end. And there's a couple of times when he outbraked himself, and he was going for a move there that was never on. And fortunately for Farth, he hasn't got any damage. No spin or anything. He was hit from the rear, but... Dan, I'll tell you what, Dan's going to be fancying his chances, though. But as we know from this race,
he's
not
just
exactly...
lost his front wheel. He's just driven it into the wall by accident.
Yeah, that would have been the wing damage, to be fair, as we see the stricken car.
That was unlucky.
Oh, and Haylan having to avoid his car. That's in a really dangerous position. I really hope that despawns, because Milan... Ooh, Energetics just avoiding him. I'm holding my breath here.
We've got Jonathan Cox up next as well.
Blaze was disconnected, so he was safe. Jonathan taking it very cautious. I think he knew. Phil is too far back, and he's going to despawn. We go racing again. Farth finally pits, but so does Dan Murphy and Andreas. That means Knowlesy still leads, but German is elevated into P4.
Though, Isak is not going to be best pleased with Farth after this race.
No.
There might be a few kind words exchanged.
Yeah. I imagine, imagine the Discord's going to be alight with some intense discussion. So we're on board now with German. We've now got only 14 drivers left in this race of the 18
He's actually lost a
it.
second of time, but either under the VSC's lost time, or he's just losing that naturally now. But
I tell you who's gained time. Droftas on Knowlesy, and of course Droftas is already leading the race in terms of because he's pitted. But One now retires. We're down to 13 runners. We expected quite a heavy casualty count with Singapore.
This is a brutal track, isn't it?
It really is, especially wing damage wise. And understandably, a lot of people calling it a day. But Droftas now nearly within DRS range of Knowlesy. He is now in DRS range of Knowlesy, who's on those 19 laps hard. And I think Knowlesy will be pitting either this lap or next lap. I'm not seeing him going much further on them. You can see those tyres are dead, because look how much quicker Droftas is. He gained about 2 seconds after the VSC ended, just through pure fresh tyres.
Well, the thing is, in this game especially, the drop-off on the tyres, once they get about 70%, they go. Like, that's it. So I think he's on punctures territory, really, Knowlesy is right now.
Yeah.
He's playing a dangerous game here.
Indeed he is. And that is an absolutely unbelievable comment. I'm going to have to read that out. Leonardo is saying the World Health Organization has updated their recommendations for contraceptives use Farth. That is one of the best comments I think we've seen. Certainly in my time as commentary. Absolutely brilliant there. Hats off for that. As we see Droftas just sort of eyeing up a move. He doesn't need to rush, because Knowlesy will be picking anyway, but he wouldn't want to get hold
Knowlesy's going to make it too difficult, if I'm being honest.
Well, you say that. He's defended the inside line.
He's going for the switch back, as Arava would go for it.
Yeah, he's too far back. For Energetics is gaining on Farth, actually. That's
to be honest, I reckon Droftas is going to be taking this so cautiously, but he's got to realise that Pease is coming in hot on
but
his back.
It's not worth, though, sending a move and getting
no,
damage.
I don't know if maybe Knowlesy would prefer Pease to win this race, or Droftas. He might have a preference.
Well, he's going in the pits. Droftas will now lead the race fully, not just net lead. And Total Pease has gained on him. Total Pease...
Gunman is in a net P3.
Yes, he is. He's about to be elevated to P3 because of the fact that Dan Murphy pitted with Farth at the same time. And I'll tell you what, during that little... I know obviously Droftas wasn't held up for long, but Total Pease has gained about a second during that one lap that Droftas was behind.
A second and a half.
Behind Knowlesy, yeah. So it's worth noticing that even that slight battle that didn't look to hold him up that much still cost him time, and Pease now has Droftas in his sights.
Now is the battle between Farth and Dan. It's the
Indeed.
closest on track
I was
at the
ahead
moment.
of you, I'm afraid, so you don't get credit for calling that. But yeah, Dan Murphy behind Farth. If we know anything, Dan's obviously a great driver, Farth is, and we know he knows how to defend, so we can expect some more wheel banging and...
Jonathan Cox is closing up to the back of here, and Jet is really quick. He's about to go for the move.
He is. He's going down the inside. Nice move.
And he makes that pretty
Energetic's
easy.
going very wide there as well.
Is Energetics... That came out of pretty much nowhere.
It did. We were focusing on the onboard for Dan Murphy, but it was a good call because I immediately switched, and as I switched, the move was being done. Phil Razor up to P12. I mean, I don't think there's anything he can do now. There's nothing he can do to get back his furniture, that's for sure. Droftas pulled out a bit on P's 2/10 in that last sector. We're looking at Dan Murphy. Is he going to go for the dive bomb on Farth? It's ambitious, and he nearly gets his front wing chopped off.
I am aware these guys are decent friends, so I do think these guys are in a party together, and there will be, if there is contact, I do think those kinds of words will be exchanged very quickly and not...
Another battle that I'm keeping an eye on is Milan. Is Alan? Yeah, Alan was. I was keeping an eye on that because the gap was coming down, but it's because Alan is coming into the pits now. But Milan is up to P5 now, so good on him. And in P6 is his Racing Point teammate of F1 Farth, followed by Dan Murphy, of course. We'll continue to keep an eye though on the race at the front, but currently it's sticking at around 1.5 to 1.8 seconds. So the closest battle on track is unfortunately not within DRS zone. It's 1.1 seconds between Dan Murphy and Farth, although that's gone down now.
Well, Farth is gaining massively on Milan, actually. On those fresh mediums and the fresh hards, you can see just coming around 2 or 3 corners, he's gaining maybe a tenth or so.
Indeed he is. Jonathan Cox getting another time penalty. That must be at least 15 now. That'll put him out the points as it stands. That those 15 seconds. But yeah, so we continue to look at the delta. Not much action at the moment. We're just looking at those delta times. Still Dan Murphy and Farth, the closest battle on track. Although Andreas actually, on Energetics, I was wrong, and that looked like a very coordinated move. Energetics moved to the side, and Andreas glides through. Of course, Andreas is one of those. He's now 20 points behind Droftas, our race leader, and our championship leader. So Andreas really needs good points today, because at this rate, Droftas is extending his lead very significantly.
We're going to be looking at a 44-point lead, I think. No, 43-point lead by the end of this if he doesn't get the fastest lap.
And Total Pease will leapfrog. Total Pease will leapfrog Andreas as well, it's worth noting.
Energetics pit in now.
He's not comfortable today. He's really uncomfortable.
Well, he was obviously on pole position for that amazing lap on the rain.
A few times ago.
The fact that he got pole with that spin across the line is one of the best things I'll ever witness. If you didn't see that velocity on the stream, You need to watch that.
I'll be watching that back.
Yeah, it was one of the most incredible pole positions I've ever seen, just because he spun across the line.
It was brilliant.
Dan Murphy now getting very close up behind Farth. I think he's turned everything up now and is really pushing for it. He'll know how difficult it is to get.
Well, what he needs to realise is he needs to get past Farth before Farth gets to the back of Milan.
Yeah,
because if Milan and Farth can switch, Farth could get away here.
Indeed, and Milan on those older hard tyres, whilst Farth on those softer, newer medium tyres. Dan, this straight is such a difficult overtaking opportunity. We've seen quite a lot of failed attempts because it's just not long enough really for a DRS zone.
He's literally behind, a pink wall.
Yeah, and tell you what, it's even worse for him now because Farth is in DRS range of Milan, so that's going to help him in defending against Dan Murphy, of course.
I wouldn't be surprised if Farth's running a very straight line speed based setup because he does seem to be able to just keep it ahead in the straights, but
maybe
gets caught so much on the areas he can be caught. But
tell you what, the gap between third place and second and first is massive.
Oh yeah, he's in a little league of his own, really.
Yeah, and and even between third and fourth, Gurman's in a nice position. But I tell you, he's not energetics. He's retired, and that's on track. That's in the wall, I think.
Yeah, he's put it in the wall at the bridge.
It's at the bridge. We're not going to see that, I don't think.
And that's another VSC.
Yeah, it's a VSC. So no safety cars still, but we've had plenty of VSCs, haven't we?
Do you know what? I'd think you'd get a safety car, wouldn't you, for that wall, but...
Well, we saw how dangerous it was when it didn't despawn. It nearly took out a load of drivers.
Well,
so
the thing is,
I think from the FIA.
You're seeing we've lost what 5, 6 drivers tonight. Imagine if the Singapore Sling was still on the track.
Oh yeah. The car has despawned, but Droftas going very slow around there. I think just in case.
No, it wasn't. It didn't despawn. It got taken away.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I'm affecting your realism.
The VIL gang's selling VIL stuff now.
Energetics saying, I hate tunnels.
Of it, or?
Yeah.
Energetics really hates tunnels. We know that because of Abu Dhabi when he got disqualified in the pit lane. And I tell you what, Droftas has gained on P's during that VSC.
I'll tell you what, he's not going to have a good time in Monaco, is he?
No, not judging by the tunnels. He's certainly not in the tunnel section anyway. Dan is now back in DRS range, although he's lost a bit of time to Farth. Farth is no longer in DRS range of his teammate after that VSC, although he has just got back into it. And yeah,
we literally have from 5th to 9th all fitting on the same camera shot on that start-finish straight. So, to be honest, Andreas can actually quite easily get 5th if he really gets his arse in gear, really.
Yeah, you're right. They're all in camera shot, so we see them go down the straight. And Andreas will really need to, because his championship challenge will be taking a big hit with both the championship leader and his championship rival in total Ps gaining big points on him today currently. Phil down in P10 in the final points position, and Blaze, who's disconnected, 12th. But out of the actual runners, Alan is last at the moment with 11th, as we go on board briefly with our race leader. But Farth is getting very close, so we're going to switch to Farth because he's getting very close to Milan now.
Well, I don't think... The thing is, we've seen a different Andreas in the last couple races, haven't we? It's not been the consistent one that we've got used to over the last season and a half.
Well, it was very consistent at the start of the season, but the last couple of races, he's... he got very unlucky in... he had a bit of a nightmare in Abu Dhabi, to be fair. But yeah, and he might be having another nightmare here as he gets a 3-second time penalty. And a nightmare by Andreas' standards, because a P9 is still decent for most people, but from Andreas' standards, it's worth to emphasise. Dan Murphy closer to Farth just than Farth is to Milan.
I really don't feel like Pease is going to be catching Dan, really. They're just matching each other.
Yeah,
they've got the exact same pace around this track.
It occasionally goes down or up by a tenth, but it's not significant enough. And I think what's going to prove decisive to this race victory, unless there's a safety car or a crash, is going to be when Pease was held up behind Far, and Droftas did that brilliant move to get past both of them, and then drift 3 or 4 seconds away from Total Pease.
Well, hindsight is a beautiful thing, isn't it, really? But just got to deal with it as it's come.
But Pease will be certainly ruining that defending from F1 Far, which was aggressive but fair.
Leo saying, do you know the difference between Phil's family and a Ferrari? I don't have a Ferrari in my garage.
Jonathan Cox getting probably his 18th
I do believe Leo should become the next chief of Ferrari, replace Binotto, and get Leonardo in.
Well, they've already got a bunch of comedians at Ferrari anyway, so why not at least have a good comedian? Yeah, exactly, have a good one.
Have a, Brazilian Gunther Steiner.
Yeah, exactly. Who burns your furniture if you don't do well. Andreas is gaining on Jonathan Cox, actually. This is now the closest battle on track. And he might have a move, might have a go here into turn 1. He's getting close.
You know what? There's a battle for... I defo feel like you're on about this one, but there's a battle between Nosey and German now.
I actually wasn't. I was on about Andreas and Jonathan Cox. But I've switched to that because you're absolutely right. German was in a world... Oh, he lets him through. Ooh. Completely lets him through. That was...
Teamorders.com
really,
there.
That was a very Valtteri, it's James. Yeah, there you go. Andreas has got past Jonathan Cox, which was the other battle I was looking at. So Andreas is now up into P8. So the recovery job
Tell you what,
continues.
4 seconds in 4 laps. I'd say it's doable for this man.
Indeed, and if he does that, at least it'll be, some sort of recovery. But it's still going to be a big loss. And I tell you what, we've missed. Pease has gained a lot on Droftas. Oh, but then a big slide through there. But oh, that's a real shame. Pease had closed it up to it was actually 1.1 seconds in the final sector. Then he had a bad exit, and then he had a big slide, and now it's back to 1.5, which is a real shame because as much as we don't really mind who wins this, we'd quite like to see a battle for the win.
He does, from what I remember, he does only have 1 penalty, doesn't he?
No, he's got 3 now, and Droftas has 2, I think. So I think Droftas has 1 less penalty. Yeah, I think he did. Dan getting close, but not close enough to Farth. I think Andreas will want these guys to battle because that will give him a better chance of closing up. Because he's 3.3 seconds behind. He's got 3 laps to gain those 3.3.
I can't see any team orders between Milan and Farth now.
Yeah. I mean, there'd be nothing to gain, exactly. So Total Pease has dropped back further to Droftas now, and they're back to where they were. Really disappointing. It looked like we were going to potentially have these final 3 laps of a battle for the lead, but it was a bit of a slide.
Maybe Dan will pipe up and get a bit brave coming into the final 3 laps.
Dan is up to 4th in the championship now, leapfrogging Young Lights, who unfortunately did not finish today after getting wing damage after coming out the pits after just getting his wing replaced. Jonathan Cox, I do believe he's in the 20s now for time penalties.
Leo saying Leclerc and Sainz would race every weekend with Leicester their loved ones in the garage. That's for sure.
So yes, this is the only battle now, apart from Alan and Phil. Actually, Phil is going to be fighting to hold on to that final points position. Not been a good day for Phil. Qualifying, he got a 5-place grid penalty, got 8th, and then pushed down to 13th. And then the race, he had an incident, and he's got a 3-second time penalty. It keeps getting worse, doesn't it? But then he had an incident in the first lap, and now he's hanging on to that final points position.
I just think he's decided to do a realistic Ferrari, and he's brought a realistic Ferrari to Singapore.
Maybe so, and I'll tell you what,
equal one.
Alan is going to have a good shot at getting this final points position if he can have a good exit through Sector 3. Milan gets a 3-second time penalty. He's running in P5.
With a big slide there.
Yeah, it looks like he's not going to be getting him for this corner. Meanwhile, Dan is closing on Farth. And if that was last lap, he definitely would have gone for that move. But thought better of it as we've got 2 more laps to go.
I don't know if he would, actually. This is Dan. Like,
true.
He's very cautious. He knows what he's doing, doesn't he? So...
Well, Alvaro did call it. It's going to be worse because then he got the 3-second time penalty. I know he's referring to the burnt furniture, but...
But he's really got to start worrying about Alahan because, honestly, he is all over him like a rash.
Alahan would have definitely probably have got him through that final straight, but he had that slide as German gets a 3-second time penalty. I think maybe the reason that German... I do believe that Knowlesy hasn't got a time penalty yet, so I think that was part of the reason that
Knowlesy's just flown away as well. It's not like...
but also Knowlesy is brilliant. Like last week when he was on the podium, he didn't get any time penalties either. So we know he is really excellent at not getting any penalties.
It's given his championship run a very nice boost, to tell you that.
It really is.
Good results.
Oh, Farth! Oh my goodness, he's gone in the wall! He lost the car completely and he's got huge wing damage. And that's going to bring Andreas into play, surely, for P7. He's not going to have the... he's not going to have the wing on him to do... He literally fought the car. He was battling the car for so long on that straight. And then eventually hit the wall. And Dan is through in the end. And it was a big mistake from Farth. And Andreas surely is going to get past him with these 2 laps. So he'll certainly be pushing like crazy too. And Farth has got to be careful with that heavy wing damage not to lose a wheel here.
Andreas is sending it into every corner. I think he might be on the stream and he knows exactly what's happened.
Yeah. Well, Alan's now having a go at Phil. This is for the final points position. Phil defends the inside. Alan goes around the outside. Phil goes very aggressively across.
Pushes him wide.
Yeah, pushes him very aggressively across. Phil is not giving up that final points position easily, is he?
And Andreas is all over the back of Farth as well now, so
yeah, that's not surprising.
Move to happen quickly.
As we are now on the final lap in terms of the race leader in Droftas, he's just gone across for the final lap. Total Peace has got the gap down to 1.3, 1.2 now actually, but he probably will be too far back.
I can't see it being enough. These guys have been matching for the whole time. And
well, Andreas has got 1 more lap to make this move. We'll keep an eye on where Droftas and Peas are on the track so we can get them going across the line as well. Bit of wheel spin there, but on this straight...
Andreas has got into the back of him.
He will have slight wing damage, I think. But either way, he's not got the same wing damage as Farth, which is just massive. And he's not making a move. He's just sitting behind him.
I think he's keeping out of the DR. He's waiting for the second DRS, though.
Yeah.
It's getting sketchy for him, honestly.
Farth is so slow because of that wing damage.
Ooh.
And more contact there.
Maybe Andres doesn't know. I'm not honestly sure. But Andreas needs to do something. There you go.
There he goes. Goes for the move.
That's very aggressive, I think, from Farth. If I'm being perfectly honest.
I think that's going to be it. Peas is now within DRS zone, but it's too late. The push has come too late.
And Phil Razor, Alahan's all over him.
Defend very aggressively.
Blueprint last time and the same. Nothing's happened different.
Well, Peas looks like he's going to be too far back, which means that Droftas is going to win this race, I think, even on penalties, regardless. And he's going to extend his championship lead. Droftas wins the race, Total Peace in second. And as we hear that machine gun-like sound of the fireworks at Singapore, that's going to trigger a lot of flashbacks for a lot of Vietnam veterans, I think.
Yeah, no. Andreas also has wing damage now, so that move's not been made.
And Knowlesy now finishes the top 3. Do you mind suggesting the top 3 so I can invite them once the race is finished, Velocity? As German comes across the line for P4, he's going to keep that. Milan, P5. Well, no, he's lost it to Dan Murphy on penalties. Now Farth. Andreas, is he going to go for it right at the end? He's not going to have enough. It's going to come down to penalties, and Andreas gets him on penalties anyway. Jonathan Cox in 9th, and is Phil going to hang on to that final point? I'm not sure what the penalty situation is between these two. We're about to see, Phil gang, whether he will get that singular point. Oh, Leonardo's saying that the machine gun was them, and I didn't quite see if Phil got the final point. I think he did. He did get the final point.
He keeps his belongings.
But either way, apparently it's escalating as Dan Murphy gets driver of the day. He started, of course, remember, 16th, Dan Murphy. So 16th to, what was it, P6 or P5? No, P5 in the end. Not a bad showing. But yeah, if I was Phil, I'd get worried about the Brazilians, because that apparently wasn't fireworks. That was the machine guns of them, as we see the podium. And just before I invite those three on the podium into the party, I will just quickly read out the final classifications of the top 10. Droftas in first. He extends his championship lead. Brilliant race from him. Oh, they actually did have the same penalty, so it was going to come down to track position. Total Pease in second. Nolsey, once again, as usual, with no penalties, in third. German in fourth. Really good result for Mercedes in the Constructors' Championship. Dan Murphy fifth. Milan sixth. Andreas seventh. Farth eighth. Alan ninth. And Phil Razor 10th. Jonathan Cox drops out of that final point. Well, he was actually P9, but he drops down to the 11th on penalties. Let's just invite these guys. Oh yeah, definitely.
18 seconds on penalties.
Oh, it wasn't into the 20s,
so,
like I thought.
Yeah, Robbie did lie to us once again this season.
Yes, yeah, I've been exposed.
It's a weekly thing.
I thought he was on 21 seconds of pens. I obviously overcounted one of them. GG Leonardo, thank you for tuning in with your insightful comments as always. And as we have two of the top three join the party, we'll just wait a few seconds to see if we have the third in Nolsey join before we start the interviews.
He's here.
Yeah, here we go. Right, so we'll interview then in the finishing position order from P3 to P1. So we'll start with Nolsey. Congratulations, that's another podium for you, back-to-back podiums. And Singapore's never an easy race to do. So how was it for you?
No, it's alright, I like the track. It's a shame I couldn't get second, really.
Yeah, it looked like a bit of team orders as well between you and German. Was that? I'm presuming that was planned. He had penalties, you didn't.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I wasn't speaking to him, but I guess he knew the penalty situation as well. So yeah, he let me through, thankfully. Thanks to him.
Yeah, and you now with those back-to-back podiums, you are starting to creep into the championship fight. I think that will move you at least into the top four potentially. Do you realistically see yourself fighting for the championship, or do you think it's too far gone?
I don't have a chance. I don't think so. Yeah, after last week where it sort of went wrong, I don't have a chance going on to into the championship anyway. I don't think the two guys in here as well with me are too quick.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's an honest opinion on that. We'll go to second place now. Total P's level on penalties with Droftas, and it came down to track position in the end. I'm presuming that period, that battle with Farth was really crucial in not letting you have a real proper shot at that victory. Yeah, it really was, because as you say, you did match times. It barely changed throughout the race, the delta between you two. Also, another thing worth noting out is it was a bit similar to sort of the Droftas move on you when you were battling with Farth was quite similar to your move on Energetics and Droftas when they were battling as Energetics came around the pit lane. I presume you were quite happy with that move at the time as well. Well, if it's any consolation, he wasn't an easy pass for anyone. Oh yeah, it was 10 seconds, and Isat then eventually, after losing 10 seconds, unfortunately lost his head in the end, and then his wheel. But yeah, congratulations on P2 anyway, because that's an important result for the championship, and I think you might even leapfrog Andreas after he got P8. But I will have to check for the championship standings. So yeah, that'll be a good result for you, even if Droftas, the championship leader, obviously has won another race. So well done anyway. We now go to the race winner, Droftas, and that's a further extension of your championship lead. And it wasn't you had to fight for that win, but you fought for it nonetheless, and you've got it. Yeah. Did you think you'd lost it when obviously Energetic came out the pit lane, you were net pit lead, and P sort of drifted past, or are you confident that things would start to go your way? Ah, okay, yep. Yeah, and he took full advantage of that as well. Oh, really? We weren't aware. We weren't sure about the penalty situation. In fact, at one point we thought that Pease was losing on penalties at that point. So yeah, that is interesting, man. What could have been for Pease then, I guess, in more ways than just the Farth incident. But yeah, congratulations though on another win, and as I say, that's an excellent result for your championship. And now I think, as I said, I do believe Total Pease is now your closest challenger. Yeah, no, it was very good to see battling like that, especially at a track like Singapore. Thanks everyone, and thanks for everyone for tuning in for what was very eventful, and to be honest, it was expected, a pretty entertaining Singapore Grand Prix, especially with this Div 1 grid, and fortunately very competitive, even if we did only have 12 finishes in the end. So yeah, thank you for watching everyone, and we'll be back next week.